Here's the hard truth. New Zealand rugby is destroying our best players. And they don't even realise it. You know the ones, raw talent. The ones who could take us to the top. They are leaving on drones. And what are we left with? A bunch of politics and mismanagement that's killing the heart of New Zealand rugby. I'm talking about players, past players that were in New Zealand. James Lowe, Bundy Aki, and Sean Maitland. Some very familiar names, but they all gone. They're all in a different journey, different path now. But this happened so long ago, but it's still happening now. But all I have to say is these players, they had no choice to leave New Zealand. And the reason why they wanted to leave New Zealand is because they wanted to get an opportunity that they deserve. But let's be real. We never even given them a shot or a chance. They should have been at the heart of our national team, the All Blacks. But New Zealand rugby dropped the ball. And it's time we ask, why are we losing our best players to overseas clubs? Let's break it down, because this topic, I wanted to talk about it for a very, very long time. Very long time. So let's get started. First off, we're not talking about random players. These are some of the most talented, impactful athletes in the game. James Lowe, man, when he was playing in New Zealand, in the Super Rugby, this guy was tearing up the wing like no one else. And what does New Zealand rugby do? Nothing. How many times did we hear about Lowe tearing up the Super Rugby? But the selectors, they just ignored him. No All Blacks call. They let him slip away. And now, he's over in the Northern Hemisphere playing for Ireland. He's an Irish man now. He's lighting up the European scene, playing in the Six Nations, playing for the Lions. The Lions tour was just finished. Representing a country that knows his value. And then we have Bundy Aki, a powerhouse, a guy with a kind of physicality and a skill that could turn any match around. We're talking about a guy who's built like a brick wall, similar to Malonu, but with the agility of a back and where he is now from New Zealand, now to Ireland. Playing in the Six Nations, played in the World Cup, played his first Lions series. And what did New Zealand rugby do? They tossed him aside. Then Bundy had no choice to go overseas to show the world that he was a world-class player. And he is. He's proven that. He's an Irish citizen now. And he's a proud one too. That is beyond disappointing. Very disappointing. We should have been proud to have him in the All Blacks. We'd love him to be in the All Blacks. But unfortunately, not. So what's the excuse? Do we have too much talent here? That we can just throw away world-class players like Lowe, Aki, and others because they don't fit some narrow vision of the All Blacks should be? That's a complete joke. The New Zealand rugby needs to get out of its bubble. It's not about who the selectors want to see in the squad. It's about getting everyone who is capable on the pitch. Now, it's not just Bundy Aki, Lowe, Sean Maitland. There's a few more. There is a few more. Harry Plummer, Sean Stevenson. Those guys were the future. But what happened? They're gone overseas. They decided to go overseas, and trust me, when they're over there, they're going to tear it up. And don't get me started with Sean Maitland. Now, the guy could break a game open, and yet he never got a real shot with the All Blacks. Now look at him. He's not playing for Scotland anymore, but when he was, back in the days, he was thriving and becoming one of the most consistent players in the Scottish team, doing things that we should have been seeing in the black jersey. But it's not just about the All Blacks either. Look at the players who have had to leave Super Rugby, players who have pushed aside because of the New Zealand rugby, didn't make an effort to nurture them. And now we've got them playing against us in the international arena. How ridiculous is that? It's crazy. New Zealand's own rugby future is being sabotaged by the very institute that should be protecting it. And it's all because of politics, egos, and a closed-minded approach to talent. But let's take a step back and talk about how we got here. This is not a new problem. The All Blacks have been known for picking players based on certain types for years. It's happening now. But we've seen players like Rico Ioane, Adi Savea, they're on a sabbatical contract. And others shine, But for everyone, for those who have left, how many talented players never even got a look in? You got to ask, when was the last time that New Zealand rugby took a long, hard look at players like, back then, James Lowe, Bundy Aki, who had the raw tools to dominate but never got the chance? This is bigger than just a few individual players. The real issue is the system we are working with, pretty much. It's outdated. The selectors are stuck in their old ways, looking at players through a very narrow lens. What the New Zealand rugby doesn't seem to understand is that the game is evolving, the world is evolving, and New Zealand rugby needs to do the same. If we want to keep our best talent, you have to adapt. You have to recognize what each player brings to the table. And if you don't lose them, and that is exactly what we've seen time and time again. So what does this mean for the future of New Zealand rugby? Well, it's simple. The longer the New Zealand rugby refuses to change its approach, the more we're going to see great players slip away. Look at what's happening to our domestic talent. Young players who should be the future are looking at going overseas. They're starting to think, well, maybe I should just go where I'm more valued, where I'm more accepted. That's a huge problem. And if we don't recognize the value of our own players, how can we expect them to stay? How can we expect the next generation to even want to play for the All Blacks? So this is where we come in, rugby fans, us. It's time for us to stand up. If you are frustrated, as I am, about the state of New Zealand rugby, it's time to make our voices heard. Let New Zealand rugby know that we are not okay with this. We don't want to sit back and watch our best players get pushed aside. This isn't just about James Lowe or Bundy Aki or Sean Maitland. It's about the future of New Zealand rugby. If we don't demand change now, it'll be too late. And trust me, once our talent is gone, it's never coming back. So I want to share this video, get this conversation going. Let's remind the New Zealand Rugby that they work for us, the fans. If we want our best talent to stay, we have to hold them accountable. It's time to take back New Zealand Rugby before it's lost to overseas teams forever. So, don't just like this video. Comment below. The more we talk about this, the harder it is for New Zealand Rugby to ignore. So, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe for more rugby content. Keep supporting your rugby teams and keep the rugby spirit alive. And we will see you in the next video.